Ooh, what's up, jobbers, and welcome to the latest edition of the Jobber Knocker podcast. As always, Nestlemania alongside for the writers, a man that, well, when he spins a deal, since the wheel makes a deal, he always picks something against me, JC.
Yeah, because I'd beat your ass. It's always spinner's choice in the JC household in Nestlemania. Are you ready for a spooky edition of the Jobber Knocker? We're going to have Halloween Havoc, boys and girls, this Sunday. Excited to talk about that card. A lot of good shit on it. But we got the rest of the shit. We're going head-to-head with Poopy Pants show, so we don't have to talk about that.
You're very excited about this. Yes. Very excited. We've got a lot to talk about. We've got Halloween Havoc predictions. We've got SmackDown. We've got Raw. You might probably sprinkle in a little NXT here before we talk about Halloween Havoc. But there's a lot to talk about. And where do we always start, JC?
Always in the Shine Nestlemania. And you know what? We kind of, we were trying to come up with the show like you were like, what would we call it? And I'm like, well, and the one comment that you made was you said there was a lot of Jey Uso this week. And I was like, you know what? There was Nestlemania. And there's a lot of reasons why I like this stuff because they're continuing to give us Jey. He literally went to SmackDown. He confronted Solo. He had a little stare down saying there was a reason they stayed away from Jacob. I think that popped a lot of people. Solo kind of held Jacob back, because you don't want to give it away right away. But then it continued on SmackDown. We get the bad stage segment with Roman where Roman says he's proud of him. And I'm just like, oh, this is going to be such a good reunion. But, we obviously get to the end of the show. Roman refuses to acknowledge Solo and all that shit. But then we get to Monday Nestlemania. And as we called in the Jobber Knocker last week, the Bloodline were out there to help Jey Uso against Braun Breaker in Nestlemania. But guess what happened? The right man is back as champion. Biggest shot of the week, Braun Breaker. Rah! New IC champ. Jey Uso, get back to being a tag team with your brother where you belong, baby. I'm excited. All this shit was good. The storylines are moving and grooving as we get closer and closer to Survivor Series. And Braun's back as a champ. So win. All wins.
That was a lot of wins there, my friend.
That was a lot. There's a lot to come. I mean, that's just like I was like, holy shit, SmackDown was still this week. They've really gone. The Bloodline has parked itself back in the driver's seat as the best story going in WWE right now, in my opinion.
It's been a long time, yeah.
Yeah, now that Roman's back every week, now that the Usos are back involved, like this is what we've been waiting for since Cody ended their dynasty at WrestleMania.
Ended their dynasty. I don't know about that, but it is what it is.
Dynasty's over, baby.
So the hardest part for me was like watching this entire thing. And the one thing I wanted to point out here, which I don't think a lot of people will give credit to, is I was watching Friday and Monday, and all I could think about was there's something about this version of Solo Sikoa that I'm really enjoying. It's like he's almost overacting in his facials, and he's not the enforcer anymore. He's kind of falling into his version of what a tribal chief is, and I kind of like it because he's like he's just like bugging his eyes out, and he's doing like all these like random like facial expressions, and like he just seems annoyed across the board. And there's something about it that it's not. I hate to use this term because there is a final boss. And of course, Roman Reigns is really the real final boss. But there's something about Solo Sikoa that feels like a main villain, which was been missing at least for the last 6 months, in my opinion. And I feel like he's really starting to settle in just a little bit there.
Can I tell you why it's felt like it's been missing the last 6 months?
Because Roman Reigns,
the good guy was missing the last 6 months.
Right.
Roman, that was the big thing. And this is kind of like, and look at, Our boy and I Guthrie, have been in lockstep. I can't fucking talk today. I'm sorry. In lockstep with this on the internet, because I believe we had the same conversation with Dom on Twitter. But it's just like Solo has been good the whole time. It's just he's kind of been like yelling into the cloud, and he's had other people come, but it's like it's all been about he's literally been feuding with Roman the entire time since he started this new bloodline. His feud was with Roman, and Roman wasn't there. So it's just like you have this villain, and it's like it kind of lays flat. But now that Roman is back and we're into it, and Solo is getting like small little things over Roman, yeah, it's working because like it's one of those things. Like I just it works better when he has that canvas to actually paint on. He's not just throwing shit and it's just disappearing and dissipating because it's fucking raining out. It's actually now it's finally dry. He has a canvas and he can paint his beautiful bloodline painting. But you know how I feel. I love it. And it's the other thing that I really loved about this week was Nestlemania. We got a tease in that main event.
Oh, Bubba.
We got some meat. We got Braun Breaker. We got Jacob Fatu. And I cannot tell you. I mean, this microphone is pretty stiff, but yeah.
Erection.
I don't even have to say it, man. Yeah.
I mean, when I saw it, I mean, you see it and you're just like, Braun Breaker and Jacob Fatu didn't even cross my mind because they're on separate shows. And then you're like, nah, never can happen. And then you're like, oh no. Oh no. Oh yeah. And that's just like, I don't know if it's a WrestleMania main event, but boy, is that going to be fun to watch.
I mean, that'd be a great WrestleMania match. Anytime. Like, I mean, it's one of those that's what I love because Triple H does this every now and then. It's like these characters that don't cross paths. When he has the smallest opportunity for them to, he kind of teases it. And it's like a smart thing to do in wrestling. It's like an old adage thing. Like you kind of tease it to see how the audience responds. But it's just like, I think they realize like, okay, this is when we can pencil down for a later date that this is a big match.
I was just so excited, and I just thought there's something about the funny that Jacob Fatu is like the guy already, but he's
unique. There's something about him that you want to see because that type of guy, like it just looks like he's an absolute blast, and you believe it. That's the biggest thing when you get these new characters is it usually takes us a while to buy into whatever they're selling. With him, it was literally the first night we saw him, we were all like, I believe it. This guy's a fucking psychopath. This is great.
The other thing too that was really, you kind of called upon it earlier when you talked, but it definitely bears some type of emphasis right now is the fact that Jey Uso was like, there's a reason why we didn't bring in Jacob and those two other goons because they're bad seeds, man. And I thought that was a really nice touch there because it felt like it did so much for everybody with just one comment.
Gave them more legitimacy, which we've been looking for with this group.
Yeah, and it also painted them as three-dimensional characters a little bit more. Like we were bad guys, but we were bad guys hungry for respect. These are bad guys who will go to jail. You know what I mean? And like I just like that dynamic of it because it's like we were bad, sure, we were running roughshod, but we did it with a little class. These guys would just rip your fucking nuts off. Like that's exactly what it was going to be like. And I mean, Jey Uso paid for it on Monday, and I was just so excited to see Jey Uso lose because all I kept thinking about was, God damn it, do I want Ray to just cry a little bit inside? That's all.
That's me. I just wanted Braun to have his title back.
No, I wanted Ray to cry a little bit. I'm gonna be honest. So Ray is a super homer for the Yeet Master, and I just wanted him to cry just a little. Because some people need to be put back in their place. Jey Uso needed to be put back in his place.
Yeah, I mean, the Bloodline story, everything that he does with this Bloodline storyline is more than anything he could do with the IC title. Like, he got the cool moment, the win. That was great. I'm glad they did it. But it's one of those, like, it's over. Put it back with Braun, let him do things, and just let the Bloodline cook, because this stuff's going to be good.
Your buddy's here saying, "Look at that JC looking very limber with that."
Yeah, I had those little meaty hands on my back today, Nestlemania, and I feel good, baby. I needed it.
You say little meaty hands. It's like he might be called Joey Sausage Fingers. You know, he just that's what he is. His little meaty hands.
Those hands have magic in them, Nestlemania.
Yeah, well, he's certified in at least somewhere. I don't know, so he should be doing a good job. Maybe someday he can crack my back.
And I bet you're a little pansy. Like, they're gonna go for your neck and you're like,
No, I love that stuff.
Okay.
I love pain, so it's fine.
It's not pain. It fixes pain.
Well, whatever. Anything.
There's no pain involved. The pain is what's happening.
Well, you're calling me a pansy. You're calling me a pansy.
Well, yeah, because some people get scared by the neck thing because I think you're in a movie when you see someone go, that's how they die. But in real life, that's just how you get an adjustment.
Understandable. Got it.
Yeah.
Thanks. Don't worry. Be thankful I'm not a proctologist.
I mean, I've never been to a proctologist, but I hope to
Oh
avoid those.
man.
But
Let's just say this much. He doesn't need to use 2 fingers. That's all I got to say about that with his meaty digit. All right. Let's move on. Anything else that's super positive for you, JC?
yeah, Nestlemania. We should probably talk about the big debut on SmackDown.
Real okay. I didn't know you were gonna go that high on this. Okay, let's
You
go.
weren't high on this? This is cool. You think the guy who loves tag team wrestling and WWE signing a tag team that has been great for decade plus or however long they've been, adding some legitimacy to a division where it's like, the reason why I love this move is because, yes, the Motor City Machine Guns, are they, so you could say 5 years too late? Maybe. But for me, it's just like, if you're signing a group like this, it means that you're investing in them to be on television, which means you're investing for more tag team wrestling on my television. So it's just like, that's what I love about this, because it's a name that people know. It's guys that are good. It's veterans that'll work really well with some really cool matches with like the current prime guys, but also like you have them to face some of your younger guys. I thought it was exciting. I think these guys are a blast to watch. I've obviously seen them before. I've seen some of their work. I know our boys Ray and Dami are big on these guys. So I think it's a big deal for the Machine Guns to come here. And I think it's a big deal for a division that is floundering in wrestling, period. But in WWE, we talk about it. It's like they go through spurts where it's like, oh, they're doing something with the tag teams. But then it's like, oh, no, they're not. But especially this one where it's like you have DIY profits, some good teams, but it's like, now you have another good team. So it actually feels like we have a division and we have more opponents for the Tongas.
So I am excited to see Chris and Alex, do their thing, because
First name basis.
Yeah, we're friends. We talk all the time. No, but I do love Shelly. I do love Sabin. I think they're a great tag team. The one thing this isn't even nitpick. I just felt like I was not enjoying it. I stopped to enjoy the entrance, and I felt like the entrance was cool with the fire and the whole panache, but then I was like, there's something odd about it. It felt like it was like the first part, then the fire happened, and everything after that felt like it was just an afterthought with the lyrics, the timing, like rock your hands up, but it was just like, put your fist up, put your fist up, put your fist up, yeah, put your fist up, put your fist up, yeah. And it's just like, and then on top of it, they added crowd noise, and I was just like, why? Anytime you add crowd noise
to everything, bro.
No, I know, but this one was so blatant, because you know what that tells me? They didn't believe that the crowd was going to know who they were.
They always do it no matter what, because it's just like more natural.
I hate it.
And you get some of these arenas. A big reason why they do it is some of these arenas, the acoustics don't sound as good, so this makes sure it sounds good no matter what.
I just hate it. It felt
and there's 5% of the audience that notices and cares, but that 5% of the audience isn't changing the channel regardless. So
no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I'm being nitpicky, of course, because I'm me. But when I looked at it, I just felt like it did a disservice on the first. You have, they always say, right? You have one chance to make a first impression. I think in the ring they did a fantastic job, but the overall, accoutrement with it didn't really help me in terms of being like excited about the Motor City Machine Guns. Like that, they went too hard in the paint on the name, in my opinion. That's all.
All right. Well, I'm starting a new segment here in the Shine. It's going to be called JC's Cry Me a River, because I got 2 parts here. Number 1, you for this, like, cry me a fucking river, Nestlemania. Cry me a river. The next part, though, I spit in the face of virgins who think they're cool. We're talking about Carlito, baby, in his backstage segments. Because look it. I understand, some people get upset with some things. It's just kind of the day and age that we're in. Like there's always, especially in this internet world, everyone has a voice. Everyone has access to everything. People see things now that they'd never see because of the internet. And people feel the need to like share their opinions on it and whatever. That's fine. But at the end of the day, Nestlemania, a comment like that he made is one of those where it's just like, if we're getting outraged over this stuff, it's like, we should just never have comedy shows anymore. We probably shouldn't have wrestling anymore, because if we just can't be adults about some things, it's just tough to me. And this one, it's just like, look it. If people get offended over a lot of things, and again, a lot of things are justified. We live in a different world now where people are more intelligent with things and more aware of things and more open to speak about things. But stuff like this, it's just like, look it. If you don't like what you're seeing on this TV show, which crosses the line all the time because it's scripted TV and there's good guys and there's villains and there's village idiots like Carlito, then you should change the fucking channel. Just like if you walk into a comedy show and someone's making racist jokes and you go, oh, this person should be canceled. This person should be in jail. It's like, no, don't buy a fucking ticket because they have an act as part of their act. And it's just so it's like one of those things. Cry me a fucking river. JC's Cry Me a River. Virgins, get the fuck out of here. And the reason why this is shine is because, yeah, it was pretty funny. This is Carlito's humor. But who knows? If it was an ad-lib line, if it was scripted, doesn't matter to me. It worked. It put the thing across. We're supposed to think Carlito's an idiot. Everyone's supposed to think Carlito's an idiot. He's also supposed to be a horny little boy. So, yeah. So, end of rant, but that is part 1 and part 2 of the first ever JC's Cry Me a River.
We're going to Photoshop you on Justin Timberlake for sure. So something that bothered me about this entire thing was, again, I understand people being upset over it, but my thought was you have to stop watching wrestling as if it's real life, folks. You are perfectly fine watching some type of show or movie where somebody gets killed. They don't necessarily get killed. There are people who are murderers. They're criminals. You watch a bank heist. You watch all of these things, and you're perfectly okay with these terrible things. Like villains who are just downright terrible, who have done unspeakable things in a story.
Tony Soprano. Let's think of shows that literally are written about bad people.
And that's what I'm thinking about is like, there are things where you watch people do terrible things and then they get their comeuppance afterwards. He's going to get his comeuppance for being a fucking stupid person. That's the point of what we're watching here. If you watch wrestling and think Carlito is the same person as what he's playing, and that's the hardest disconnect from wrestling, is that they think if they see Cody Rhodes, he is Cody Rhodes because that's his name. And chances are he is very similar to that. But Carlito is not Carlito in real life all of the time. Dom
You're
is not.
You're telling me Dirty Dom isn't a
banging
prison hood rat who, you know,
no,
it does like chicken fingers. We know that's
well, yeah, but I'm just saying there are parts of the real person that get in there. But I would very much doubt that like people can need to be that upset about something. Like if you're going to tell me people are going to get mad at that and then go watch The Boys on Amazon. Like
exactly.
Come on.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like it's a different type of medium. And again, when a clip gets shared on the internet, there are people who don't know these things, see these things out of context, like whatever. But it's also like it's the cry outrage instantly when you see it. Like when I see something on the internet that I was like, "Ooh, that's a little unsavory," I might look into it for the context. Like, "Oh, this is from a TV show where it's about that." That makes more sense, you know. Because I think that's my biggest disconnect in a real life rant here is that I don't think people. I'm not saying people aren't intelligent. I'm saying people are choosing not to be intelligent by looking into something. They're just automatically assuming things, and it's like you can't always assume when, especially nowadays with the internet, you can't assume that anything's real and all this and that. It's like, do a little bit of yourself, educate it for yourself so you have a full understanding. Then you can make your informed opinions. But that's whatever. That's Jesus Cry Me a River. I also want to say this segment, though, was great. Carlito with the Judgment Day, them being like, Raquel being like, "What do you do here?" And he's like, I'm a fixer. And they're like, "Dom, I'm going to get you a world title shot." And he goes into the office. And he's talking, "Hey, Pierce." He's like, "What are you as a fixer?" And Pierce is selling it great, as he always does. And he goes, I have the next challenger for Gunther for you. And he goes, "Who?" And he goes, "Dirty Dominic Mysterio." And Pierce just starts laughing, just like, this is perfect. This is how you sell. It gets Carlito over. It gets Dom continuing to be like the little shithead. It's also great for Pierce because he's always good in these types of segments. But this stuff is just good because my biggest worry with the 3 hours to 2 hours was these type of segments are the ones that get cut. And I'm glad they haven't been, because this is that type of character work, especially for these groups like the Judgment Day, which are so character driven. These little short, little stupid segments, quote unquote, are so important. And I'm glad they're still finding time to get them in with that one less hour.
I mean, I would definitely put a flag in the sand here saying that those promos are more important than the matches.
Oh, 100%.
And I think
TV matches.
Yeah,
100%.
especially. Yeah, because I feel like you need to use Raw and SmackDown, NXT as an advertisement for your big matches, which your big matches on our PLEs. So there's a formula there that makes sense. Like, yes, I'm always excited to see a banger on free TV. That's wonderful. And there's plenty of them. There's a plethora of good stuff going on across the board. But yeah, these promos are super important. I feel like they've done a better job this week and last week, but when it first started, I was like, "Oh baby, this is an adjustment for me," because I've been usually starting at 9:30, and that's usually what, like, I catch up and then I see the main event live. But now I'm like, I am way off by the time I am done. So it's an adjustment for me watching it now too. So when it gets back to January, I'll be curious to see how it feels.
Yeah, apparently I was reading the other day, they still haven't finalized the length of the show, whether it's going to be 2 or 3 hours or in between or whatever. But again, with Netflix, I think it could be more free flowing, but it'll be interesting to say what they say their target goal is, if they stick with this 2 hour model, or if Netflix is like, look, you can run over as much as you want because it's obviously live, or if you want to schedule it for 3, you can do that. I'm curious because either way, like this is going to do such a good thing for Netflix that you think that they would be fine with giving WWE as much as they wanted in terms of content, but it will be interesting to see how that plays out.
There is no reason to go like cut off. You know what I mean? So it's
Well, that's what I mean. They don't have to cut off, but if they say if they can be like it's a 2 hour show and then it runs like 2 hours and 5 minutes or 2 hours and 50 minutes, or they can say it's a 3 hour show. You know what I mean? It's just I'm curious because there is obviously you want to set an expectation for the time. But the nice thing about that is like there's going to be no hard cutoffs like we're seeing with CW and USA and that where you get like things cut off, like the Delta debut last night in NXT just having to be cut because CW is going to the next thing. I don't even know what it is, but
Zarya.
Is that what it is? Yeah,
Zarya. Just extremely excited to see what she does. Anything else that's positive?
Did you like the start to Raw?
So
it's like a good brawl, right?
I thought this was a super hot start. I love this because
we always love when they do this.
And here's the thing: when I can turn on my TV and go, "What the fuck just happened?" instead of being like, "Oh, somebody's coming out and doing the SNL monologue, welcome to Monday Night Raw." I hate that. I fucking hate when someone comes out and does a fucking welcome to Monday Night Raw. I'm a visionary. Every fucking Monday night.
I mainly hate when Seth Rollins does it too.
But it literally it felt like a monologue for the longest time. Welcome to Monday Night Raw. You know, whatever. That's what it was. Now, when I get the fucking just the pouncing and the I love that feeling of anything can happen, and that's what I was, living on when I was a kid. Was that you can't change the channel, so let's make sure we can, not change the channel because something cool is happening. So I thought they did a masterful job building Reed and Rollins, getting to that point, and they had multiple pull aparts, which was great. And I just love the line of saying, "I'm gonna make your ass famous." The fucking table exploded when he missed, and the table leg went flying through. I don't think I've ever seen that in my life. Thought that was a cool kaboom. So I was just, it doesn't even matter to me if Reed wins. Reed just has to have a serviceable outing here. I think he might win.
I would think he would win, but I'd book him to win.
I would hope so, but it's also in Saudi. You never know.
That's bulletproof. And plus, I assume this is going to be more than one match, so you kind of want the guy that needs it more to win the first one.
Says JC's been making Nestlemania famous for years.
Fact.
Yeah.
Fact.
Well, you know who came up with the show there, dickhead, right? Just letting you know. That's right. TLDR, by the way.
Yeah, but the only reason the show got greenlit, you need the star.
That's why back up the Brinks truck for this asshole. Is there anything else that you think that's positive this week? That's a no.
I mean, all of NXT, but we're gonna.
You can get into NXT if you.
We're gonna talk about Halloween Havoc later, so I think we can mostly save it because most of the stuff this week related to that. I mean, look at anytime I get to see Lola Vice and Jada Parker throw down. By the way, I just like the bouncing of the OTM song with Jada Parker. Just I feel so fucking cool whenever that song is on.
But you're not cool.
Oh no, I'm so fucking cool. But I will say this because normally like Hank and Tank fucking do nothing for me. They're blubbering fucking idiots. They're hashtag Ben Boys for sure. If he ever sees them, but Lola coming out and making them dance, I was fucking dying laughing because Hank actually had some moves. So for the first time ever, I'll put Hank in the shine.
Unbelievable. It's funny because I looked at them and I said, what the fuck are these two doing? Like, all I kept thinking about was I was sitting there. I'm like, we already have Otis at home. We don't need these guys. Like,
they actually won the match too.
I know. And then the fucking dancing at the end had me like in stitches with
when
the NASCAR
she came out,
guy.
She did that and they changed the music. I was like, oh my god! And they had the fucking random NASCAR guy in there. Oh man,
Nessa looks like he dances at the Pink Pony Club. All right. Yikes. All right. I'll have you know that I am probably a better dancer than anybody in this chat. So there you go. Challenge. See if you can accept it. That's it. I got moves. I got moves like Jagger. So yeah. And a voice like an angel. Michael Downing can tell you that.
His obsession with your voice is kind of weird.
Yeah, but he has an obsession with just my voice singing. That's it. Not me. He'll tell you that. He'll tell you that for sure. He'll say
no one has an obsession with you, so
that's not true. My wife and kids love me. That's about it.
They have to.
Legally obligated is what I've told them all. They're legally obligated to love me. Isn't that wonderful? Put on that t-shirt. Legally obligated. Anyway, so is there anything else you want to get hopeful or shine or whatever the hell we're gonna do? I don't know.
I believe we're in the shine, so that means we go to the heat. It's your favorite segment. You want to skip your favorite segment?
Yeah, we can do whatever you want. Get him off my TV. Get him off my TV. Get him off my TV. I could talk about AEW the whole time, but I'm not going to do it. First off, I do want to bring up AEW very quickly because this was a point of contention for me when I watched on Wednesday last week, and I know we're like
Wednesday was the best episode they had in like 3 years, though.
I know it really was, but the one thing that was just kind of like we're poking holes in this entire thing was like the whole like Adam Cole MJF trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit, which I applaud. But all I kept thinking about was just like, why are we doing this? What the fuck are we doing? Like, I get that MJF is kind of an asshole and that's his bread and butter. I know people just love yelling Adam Cole, baby. Because, I mean, my kids do it every day now, legit. And so it's just fun to say. But it just felt like when I was watching it, I'm like, this feels like I'm being told the narrative. And I just don't believe it. So I just felt like there's so much about AEW going on that I'm just... And again, the Shelty B stuff, that's great. I fucking love Shelty B. I love Leo Rush.
That match was super hot fire.
That was great. But like the rest of the program was fine. But now I'm thinking, can we get 2 weeks in a row, folks? I'll be curious when we get off.
You see, if you just look at, we're going head to head with it. So, and you're here because you're not watching it because it fucking dog shit. Look at the card. And especially look what on top of the card. Fucking, he shall not be named versus fucking Briscoe. Like, I can't say what I'd rather watch because it's terrible than that.
Okay, that's fine.
AEW. What else? What's your WWE heat?
Okay.
Can I tell you my biggest heat of the week?
Go ahead.
Samantha Irvin's gone.
Yes.
She's gone. It's devastating. We don't know what she's doing next. I'm curious. Be supporting her where she goes. But like, she probably my favorite ring announcer ever. I just thought she kind of modernized the game, put her own flavor on it, and made it like kind of fun. I love when I see that, when someone can take a role, especially something that's very generic and just like very like, it's been one way the whole time and you kind of put your own spin on it. I always love that. So I love that everyone, nowadays is starting to do it a little more, but I thought she's really been the best at that. And look at Lillian Garcia. Obviously we all love her, but she fucked up her first line, Nestle. Did you hear what she said?
What'd she say?
She said #1 containers tournament.
Well, she's rusty. That's okay. It's all right.
When you're paid to talk for a living, and you've done it forever, and you come back, it's just tough. And it just reminded me, like, we have to appreciate what we have when we have it, because it could just be gone someday. So, Samantha, best of luck, but we miss you already.
She's a friend of the Knocker. She's from New Bedford.
Voice girl for us.
Voice of an angel. Married to a stud, or going to be married to a stud. Pretty Ricky. Hope the best for both of them. I hope she has a wonderful career. And yeah, again, I have a feeling she will be back maybe in a couple of years, but I think
you never know. I'm assuming much like how Kayla left, probably has some like other goals or things she wants to try to be successful at. But look we've seen it before. We lost Kathy Kelly for a while, but Papa H brought her back into our lives. So hope that someday Samantha will be back in our lives as well.
She's just a stellar human being. And we just want to take a moment and recognize Samantha the bomb. Because she's the bomb. All right. Anyway, she said, Dom is saying Kaya Fletcher is having a career-changing promo right now.
Wonderful.
Dom,
I think our new segment in the Shine, Crybabies with JC or whatever I called it, is much better than.
I'll tell you this much about Kyle Fletcher. On paper,
I like Kyle Fletcher.
On paper, should be. I was told that I have the Kyle. Well, he has a different haircut now, but apparently Joe Stopper told me I had a Kyle Fletcher haircut, which I was taking offense to. But that now he looks like Eminem, so it doesn't really matter. I think Kyle Fletcher will do great with Will Ospreay, but it's something about. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with him after this, but we'll see. Who the fuck is Kyle Fletcher? I love that. Thank you, Adam Bursky. Thank you.
Kyle Fletcher's the man.
You don't watch AEW, do you? He's the yeller. He's the yeller of the group in the Don Callis family, and that's pretty much all he does.
He's a friend of Will Ospreay.
That's all he's going to be. Friend of Will Ospreay. Moving on to any type of things that are weird here in terms of.
He's also the Piper of Sky Blue. So if you want to respect him, his game. Yeah,
I'm not even going to.
He's all up in that ass.
Well, he's got to be. Somebody's got to be. The weird triple threat match on SmackDown. The tag team ending. I get that it was the legal man thing. I applaud them for trying. But here's what I'm going to say about this. I don't think that as an audience, that device is going to work. I just feel like it's too much of a thinker. You don't go to wrestling to be like, hey, entertain me intellectually. No, you go to shut your brain off. You go.
If you do, you're going to be
very disappointed. Exactly.
Wrestling, no, I'm going to show up here and hope to be, intellectually engaged.
Let's have a conversation.
Oh, that Carlito promo, that was a little bit in poor taste. Yeah. I don't know if I agree with the diction that he used there. And why is he eating an apple? Apples are meant to be on teacher's desks, not in the hands of a buffoon who might spit it at me and say I'm not cool.
It's exactly it, though. Wrestling is low-hanging fruit of entertainment. Like, when I was sitting there, I'm like, I
fucking ate my last apple today. I meant to put it on the show. That's what I meant to do. Damn it.
You bastard in your promo.
I could have spit in the face of the versions who didn't think it was cool.
Well, you were going to spit out your webcam? That'd have been weird, but whatever.
Probably wouldn't have been smart.
But the illegal man thing or legal man thing was whatever. It's just not.
Say it how it was, Nestle. It was super hot garbage.
Okay, it sucked. All right, it sucked. Like I said, wrestling fans are stupid. Keep it simple. All right, that's all it is.
Book for cavemen.
Yes. Show women wrestling, swear words, table spots. That's it. That's what we want. Like, if I want to be intellectually stimulated, I will read a fucking book.
Yeah. Because you can't even watch TV anymore because there's nothing on TV that's intellectually stimulating.
No, there's nothing stimulating. It's literally garbage. We all watch garbage. It is what it is. Moving on, we have Candice and Nia, a team. Okay, fine. We're doing something with Candice. Whatever, that's fine. My other thing here is Cody Rhodes selling this match. Now, I will give him a positive point here about he did a fucking phenomenal job.
Yeah, he's the GOAT.
Selling this matchup. But folks, we all know this match is dog shit in terms of its relevance and needing to happen.
Yeah,
the match itself is
the jewel of crowns.
But there's something. Here's the thing that bothers me, JC, and I guess we're just not going to acknowledge this. Maybe we will next year. I don't know. So the crowd, and now you're going to tell me to calm down, and it doesn't matter. I get it. So you can fucking pipe down in the chat for just a minute there, Joe. So you're going to have the world champion versus the WWE champion, where neither belt on the line, and they win a championship that doesn't matter, and they're going to hold on to it. For how long? Now, my question is, if they lose those championships, and they still won that championship, the Crown Jewel championship.
This championship can only be defended in Saudi Arabia, so.
That's my question is, so let's say, hypothetically, Cody Rhodes loses his championship by the next time they go to Saudi Arabia for this thing, right?
So then it will be two different people fighting for it.
See, that's fucking weird to me.
It's right? You gotta think. You don't gotta think of it like it's not a belt that can be defended.
I know that.
It's a purpose. It's more of like, you watch college football? They have these rivalry games where they play for like a cup. There's a million of them. It's just all these rivalries that have gone back like hundreds of years, and it's just these two teams play. They play for it's like in golf when you get like a stupid like, oh, this guy gets a jacket or this guy gets this weird looking trophy. It's something like that. It's like it's wrestling though, so you get a belt and you just get it at this event. It means nothing. It's whatever, but it's just like it's something they can add to someone's resume.
I just think it's stupid because it's one of those things where I look at it and go, but it's not even like it can be defended. At least the Continental, I can't do this. I was going to say the Continental Classic.
Yeah, no. It's just,
I can't do it.
It's the same as like the Owen Hart Cup, which yes, they give them a number one contender shot on that one, but this is like it's your two top guys and they get to say they're the top champion. It's
I just don't like it.
A bragging right for a heel, and it's also something that in 10 years, when you're looking at their accomplishments, it'll say however many time whatever champion, and it'll just be another accolade. It's just that's the thing, Nestlemania, especially in wrestling. It's how many fucking accolades can you give yourself, whether they're real or fake. It don't fucking matter. A legacy is a legacy, bro, and the more things you add to your list, is the better your legacy looks. It's just like applying for jobs. You put all the bullshit you can on there because you never know what idiot might be like, oh, that looks really good. I'm going to recruit them because that looks good, even though they might not be qualified. But that looks great. Oh, yeah.
Did you turn like Canadian?
I don't know what I was doing there. I just when I tried to
a little Minnesota.
I kind of like crush my mouth a little bit just so it makes a different type of noise.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going for anything. It's just like I'm trying to make myself sound different.
I don't think
I go like this. where I talk about like I'm Nestlemania, or I could go in a different pitch and talk like this.
Either way,
I'll
you
always
sound
do high pitch
stupid
for you though.
because I'm what?
A squeaming little shit. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's the way out of it. Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna say we're done with the heat here, okay? Because
Okay.
I don't have much heat here. The only other thing I was just thinking about was I kind of just want Dom and Rhea to fight already, and we're not there yet. So I want it bad. I want it very bad. So give it to me. It seems like it's still a possibility. So I'm holding out
Yeah,
hope.
as long as she's still feuding with Liv, it's always the doors.
It did cross my mind when they said Dominic needs to face a former world champion. I'm like, well, there's Priest.
I mean,
next
no,
week.
it's Braun Strowman or Priest.
No,
It's
Braun
one of those.
Strowman tore his groin. He's going to be
Oh,
out.
okay, then it won't be Braun Strowman. Then it'll probably be Priest.
Yeah, it'll probably be Priest. And then it'll just be like he'll get fucking, yeeted through a table or something. I don't know. It just, but whatever. It's fine. And so, yeah, we want to get hopeful.
Glorious, you're my only hope.
Go ahead. Would you like to hope for it?
I can go first. So I'm watching NXT, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I love Julia. I think she's fucking awesome. Then I see Stephanie Vacker, and I'm like, I love Stephanie Vacker. She's fucking awesome. These two are fucking cool together. They're obviously booking it kind of like they did with the Finn and Tommy. It's kind of like the same thing, except for these two are way better than Tommy. But I think they're so cool. And it's like, I'm looking at this. I'm like, look, they're obviously Cora and Roxanne. Like, it's going to be a super fun match. I'm excited to see it. But I'm also looking, it's like, man, you have that this division is so deep. Obviously, these two seem to be the challengers for Roxanne coming up. But you also got Delta debuting and all this other stuff who they're treating as a big deal. But I'm also thinking, I'm like, you know what? Jade and Bianca are a dominant tag team. And they never really face anyone where we feel like they're on their level. And look, the size is a definite thing. But I look at Julia and Vacker and I'm like, man, maybe while we're doing this, why don't we just do a one-off fucking match of Jade and Bianca versus Julia and Vacker? I just think it would be like, it appeases everyone in the world. That would just be a cool thing because it's like we see them as super legitimate. They are, I think, fun as a tag team because they're still so new and they're both so talented. They have a real life friendship. It's like, when else are you going to have the chance to do this? Because we obviously know they're both going to be singles megastars. One of them is going to be the one to likely knocks off Roxanne. These two are definitely going to be feuding down the line. So why not have them and treat them as like a super team to challenge WWE's super team? Because we're already seeing they're defending those titles everywhere. But I think this would be a fun one-off. I think it would give Jade and Bianca something extra, a different type of challenge. Would also put some good exposure on Julia and Vacker, who clearly are two people that you want to invest in for the future. So, yeah, that was my hope's pretty simple. It's like, take advantage of this while you have it. Let's put together that tag team match. You can make it for the titles, obviously. But I just want to see it. I think it's good exposure for everyone. I think it's interesting. It's something that'll just have my attention. Like, I'm not always pro, like, one-offs, but I'm like, this is a case where it's like, they're not going to be a tag team, probably very long. So it's like, strike while the iron's hot. Do it. It's cool for Jade and Bianca. Injects a little more life into that tag division. So hashtag JC knows. Hashtag JC hopes come true. Make it happen.
So my hope is very simple. I think the tag division is definitely in a disarray. They seem like they're in a rebuilding mode right here. I'm just going to be obvious with my stuff. I think the War Raiders need to become the Raw Tag Team Champions so we can get them off of, I even forget who's the fucking tag champs, I'll be honest.
And then JD.
Right, there you go. Get them off of them. Bye. Because it seems like this is what I'm thinking. Like when I look at the Judgment Day, I feel like there's a schism going to be happening here. It's going to be Finn and JD for a little bit, and then
I thought you said they were going to bring the schism back. I was like,
no. A schism. So those two will break off and do whatever. Maybe they'll stick together for a little bit because they're pals. Then there's Dom, Liv, and Raquel, and then Carlito will be trying to get with Raquel, but then that won't work. So I feel like it's all going to break up into pieces at some point anyway. So I feel like getting those titles off of them onto the War Raiders, who definitely need something because now it seems like people are into them. I'll get a little bit here. Right back, shot in the arm. Let's do it. And then on SmackDown, it seems like to me like we need the Motor City Machine Guns to win this thing or DIY. But I feel like DIY are fine and can deliver on any platform. They don't necessarily need to win. I feel like in order for Motor City Machine Guns to win and become something very, idealistic and that people can take them seriously, they need to win right away. And beating the Bloodline would be very helpful here because what I can see happening is now that Jey Uso lost his Intercontinental title, I can see that Jey would then come on SmackDown and cost the Bloodline those tag titles to really fucking ruffle feathers and shit like that. So I feel like that's inevitably going to happen wherever that's going to happen. I don't know if it's a crown jewel or if it's 2 weeks away after we find out who wins on Friday. But I feel like we need the machine guns to win the tag on SmackDown, and then the tag having the War Raiders on Raw. That way we can finally just kind of reset here, put some real tag teams into it. Let's go. Let's spend some time here. There's a lot going on, but these tag teams need to be highlighted because, like you said, when tag team wrestling is done correctly, it's better than singles wrestling. That's my hope. I need these. Yeah. I need new blood in the tag division. We
got new blood, baby. So I'm with it. But I think that's a big reason why they signed the machine guns. Is I think Triple H is going to make more of an effort to kind of capitalize on that division, because tag teams are the perfect type of things. Like we always say, it's like they can just go out there and have a hot match, whether it's at the beginning of the show, top of the hour. It gets the crowd up because there's more people. You can do more things. So yeah, I'm about it. Nestlemania, we're going to the comeback, and my comeback is going to Candice LeRae, because not only is she the first ever women's speed champion, but I fucking loved all the shit. We come on every week and we complain about the SmackDown's women's division. This was the most fun I had with this stuff, because the backstage segment setting it up with Indy kind of getting her to be the Nia to agree to be the tag team partner with Candice, but then Candice doing all the things, Candice winning when Nia wasn't paying attention, and Nia being shocked. And I just thought Candice really ate up this moment. Like it was something where it was like she got an opportunity, and it's like, go out there and eat up scenery and really like make yourself like part of this story and interesting. And I was like, watching this, I was like, man, I almost kind of like Candice and Indy with Nia more than I like Tiffy. But it's just like, it kind of showed me, it's like, okay, maybe we're getting closer to the Tiffy thing, because like heels are always better with reinforcements. But I don't mind this little awkward alliance here with Candice and Indy and Nia. And I think it works. And I thought it was something that they desperately needed last week. It was an injection of some different talent. And like I said, I thought Candice absolutely ate. She ate it up. She did a great job. Her character work was on point. So I really enjoyed it, and I'm giving her my comeback.
Do you think this leads to a women's war game match where it's Tiffy and Candice and Nia and of course our girl Indy versus the tag team champions Bayley and Naomi? Because that's where
it's very possible, because we haven't really discussed what we think the women's war games is. And it's also interesting because that would mean both SmackDown gets both war games matches. So.
Well, I just don't think there's anything on the women's Raw side that
I agree on Raw, because Raw's very one-on-one for both of those like main characters. Like it's Liv and Rhea, and then it's Gunther and we assume Priest at that point. So
I don't know. I think that's where it's headed to me. Like when I saw that on
Friday, think it makes sense. I think it's an easy way to do it. And I think it's a great opportunity, I think, for Candice and Indy to be part of that.
We'll see, because maybe they just won't do 2 this year. Maybe they'll just make the Bloodline the biggest fucking match you've ever seen in your life. So we'll see.
But I think this is it's either that or they fucking force something with the cul-de-sac in wrestling that wasn't on this week on Raw. So
what are you talking about?
Pure fucking crap.
Oh, okay. Cul-de-sac. Pure fucking cul-de-sac. Oh, Guthrie's gonna hate that one. Anyway, all right, my comeback goes. I can't believe I'm doing this after weeks of just teeing off on this guy's Twitter account. I cannot believe that I'm gonna give it to Paul Ellering saving the Miz. I chuckled so bad when I saw him get the mandible claw and push the Miz out of the way. I was like, okay, he did something finally. Paul Ellering has been useless since the moment he's been on television. And all I kept thinking about was, he finally did something. He finally did something of merit. He collected a paycheck and did something for it, JC. I am so excited he finally did something. Instead of rubbing his hands together with his white gloves and doing random Viking shit on Twitter, he's doing something. He's doing it. He's fucking doing it. And I love it. I think it's great. I think he gets my comeback. I hope that The Miz becomes the leader of the Final Testament. I think this is wonderful. I'm curious what your thoughts are with the Wyatt Six versus the Final Testament here.
I mean, I think this is a feud that makes perfect sense. Like when in terms of if we were looking at the roster, like what can the Wyatt Six do next? It's definitely 100% this group. But I will say Uncle Howdy should be suspended for assaulting a senior citizen. Like that's bullshit. Like suspend his ass. But no, I think this makes perfect sense. I think it also like I think the most interesting part of this to me is that obviously they're going to be feuding with like AOP and Cross. But what I love about it is the reason I think their target is actually the Miz. because their targets have all been people who have like betrayed things. And obviously the Miz has betrayed truth, and obviously like anyone else he's ever been friends with in his entire life. So I think it's kind of cool that the Final Testament kind of is working as the shield for the Miz as opposed to him being the leader. It's just kind of like they're kind of like the shield for him, but it also evens up the numbers so you can have a feud with the Wyatt Six. It makes too much sense. It's also an easy way to finally transition us out of this never-ending Final Testament New Day thing, so the New Day can kind of feud with itself now. I think this is how the transition's finally here. So I think it's positive. I think it's going to give people what they want, which is the Wyatt Six just run and train on a team. And I think the Final Testament are the perfect group to be their opponents.
You're also missing a very interesting point that I could nibble on. Was that the Miz had his own faction with Bo Dallas back in the day.
He did.
And I thought that little nugget would be interesting as well, because, that was, to me, like one of the highest points of Bo Dallas's career.
The Miz probably saved his career.
You know what I mean? And I think that's a very important nugget there that needs to be said. And I think also the Miz was kind of a big deal in terms of dealing with Bray Wyatt and The Fiend, especially during the pandemic era. Easy for me to say era. I know. It was just, there's something about it that just seems like and the Miz can really sink his teeth into this stuff. So I think this could be highly entertaining. The Goons and Killer Cross or whatever is fine, but
his name's Karrion, Adam.
Karrion Cross. It's bizarre to me because the more I watch him, I'm thinking, I don't really mind Cross. I think my hate for AOP is just seeped in and Ellering.
You're a size shamer. No, the thing with Cross is I think this is the role that the reason why I think we dislike him is because they try to present him like he's a main event talent, and we know he's not. But in this type of role, as part of a mid-card act, it's like this is his wheelhouse, and this is where he can actually serve a strong purpose for the television show. I think that's always the disconnect is I think that's why there's such a thing as like pushing a guy too far and stuff like that. It's just like it's not believable if you put him up here. But if you keep him here in his wheelhouse, that's fine. Because what do I say all the time, Nestlemania? Not everyone needs to be a world champion. Because there's only 2 slots at a time to be on top. You got to fill out the rest of it. And guys like this are what makes the rest of it interesting enough.
Fair enough. Would you like to get the big old finish?
Big old finish. On SmackDown this week, you got a Gunther and Cody face-to-face. We have Melo and Andrade, game 7, I think, with L.A. Knight, as the referee. Then we have the Motor City Machine Guns versus DIY in the number 1 contenders match.
I don't give a shit about LA Knight anymore, so he's not for me. So
he never has been. You've just been waiting.
No, it's just I'm really, I don't think I've ever really enjoyed once a babyface gets the championship.
Yeah, no one does.
I think like the chase to me is really important, and that was what I enjoyed about him. And now it's like what else do we do with him? And I feel like that happens an awful lot. And
that's pretty common though.
I know. It's another example of why the chase is so important.
Yeah,
because now
his chase was good.
Yeah, and that's it. It's like he now what? What do I do with him? In my brain, it's like I don't really care either way. So I'm assuming Carmelo will win because he's better than Andrade. So at least in terms of dealing with a heel and babyface stuff, because I feel like
the booking would make sense for that.
Yeah,
but we shall see. On Raw, we have Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser and a Banner, and Dom versus a former world champion. I believe is all they've announced.
I assume it's going to be Damian Priest, and he's going to get killed, and then I assume maybe Ludwig gets the big dub here. He feels like he needs it.
I'd be pro that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like it.
All right, Nestlemania, you want to get spooky with some Halloween Havoc?
I do love Halloween Havoc. It's one of my favorite things.
It is. It's great, and I'm glad it's like a standalone thing, and the card's pretty good. We are going to start off Nestlemania with the NXT Women's North American Championship match. It is a spin the wheel, make a deal, spinner's choice, which means whoever of the 3 of Fallon Henley, JC Jane, and Jasmine Nix, who represents this group will also get to pick the stipulation. But either way, I'm going to pick Kalani Jordan.
I'm going to have to hold on one second and write these things down because the predictions are not actually ready. So in the sheet. So give me a moment. I'm going to pick Kalani Jordan as well because, Kalani Jordan is, just too new. Just too new.
I think it's I could see this a spot maybe where you put the thing on the heels, like maybe Fallon wins or JC wins, but I don't know. I feel like Kalani has is doing enough, and it feels like they want to continue her push, because I think if she loses it now, it kind of drops her a little. I think they got to continue to capitalize on her momentum as like a new star. So
also Zarya could double up and kill everybody else to help
that's
her.
true. That's an interesting thing. We don't know how she's going to, if she's going to be a good guy or a bad guy yet. So next up, Nestlemania, we have an ambulance match between Ridge Holland and Andre Chase. You know what? I've never been the biggest Chase U guy. I think they serve a good purpose. Never been a big Ridge Holland guy, but this storyline, I have absolutely loved his character work this whole turn. And again, this is why I love NXT. You take two guys that normally I don't give a fuck about, but you give me a nice, compelling story, and now you're paying it off with a match, and I fucking care. So that's why HBK is the best booker on the planet. You let that man cook. But I think I would be a little disappointed. I think it's weird because the baby faces should get the revenge, but I kind of want the Ridge train to choo-choo keep on trucking. So throw this as old ass in the ambulance. Give me Ridge Holland.
I think Andre Chase is going to be the perennial underdog for his entire stay of wherever.
He should never leave NXT.
Yeah.
They should just continue to like call up Chase U people, but he should have to be the professor that never leaves.
Yes, I agree.
That thing will not work on the main roster.
No, absolutely. It would never even remotely got a chance. So again, Ridge the fridge for both of us.
Next up, we have a tag team match with the women's champion Roxanne Perez and her friend Cora Jade taking on the team of Julia and Stephanie Vacker. I mean, look, I think the obvious choice is the two new girls are going to get the win, but then it's also like, could be easy for the dastardly heels to get one over here, but I'm going to pick Julia and Vacker because I feel like they're going to want to showcase the new toys.
I would agree with you. I will also pick Julia and Vacker because I feel like the champion's not defending the championship. This is the easy way for her to lose.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Which one do you like better, by the way, Julia or Vacker? I'm curious. Do you have one that you like better than the other? Putting you on the spot here.
I like them for different reasons.
Same. I like them both equally, and I kind of hinted at that earlier.
Oh well, there's one that for obvious reasons I like more. So
I'm super. And if we're talking that, I think both are thumbs up for me. So
Vacker is more.
Oh yeah, yeah. You just like the horns.
Well, that helps amongst other things. So.
Next up, spin the wheel, make a deal. Tables, ladders, and scares match for the NXT North American Championship, but the match can only be won by pinfall by choice of Tony, I believe. He will be defending against Obafemi and Nestlemania. Is this a Braun Breaker Jey Uso situation?
It's interesting you say that because was Obafemi this entire run feeling like a babyface to you? Until
he was kind of always teetering because he was kind of started as the heel, but it just like he's just so fucking amazing that I think it was just like they let him just be him and the crowd just loves him. Like we love him.
So I wonder if this is his chance to not like I can go either way.
He was pretty heel last night.
Right.
Tuesday. Yeah.
So my thought was like maybe they give him a shot as a heel here to see how he does as a full-fledged heel. But then there's another part of me that goes, I think they have other plans for this guy.
Well, it's just one of those things like Trick is finishing up with Paige. But the problem is, I don't think you want to send Oba right at Trick right now. So I'm curious to see. But I'm going to pick Tony. But my reasoning is because this storyline has been so much about like the whole family. And obviously Oba took them all out last night. But I think part of the story is that, especially with this stipulation, the whole family is going to contribute to finally putting down Oba, and then Tony will have to represent. Because the last one is about Tony kind of doing it like on his own and like whatever. I think this one, it's like they are a family, and it's just like Oba made it about a war against the whole family. That I think that you can have the Stacks run in, the Luca run in, you can even have Rizzo run in, and just contribute in some way to help Tony get the edge in the victory.
There is an interesting thing to be said here, though, because it's a tables, ladders, and scares match, but you don't hang the championship. It would be it'd be an easy way for Tony to win if it was a climb.
Yeah.
But the fact that it has to be pinfall makes me feel like, well, this is an odd situation. Right, but do you really want to pin him twice? I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think it's okay if they do it the right way, because I think that's the beauty of these stipulation matches. Is it's like you're using fucking weapons. That's an equalizer, man. They always call the chair the equalizer, but it's tables, ladders, and scares. Everything's an equalizer. We don't know what the scares could be. They could be anything.
I was going to say, what is Oba? afraid of. That'd be interesting to me. But
It'd be funny if Eric Rowan comes out with his, what was it, spider or whatever the fuck.
oh, that giant spider. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'll pick Tony too, but I don't feel good about this one because I feel like this feels like an Oba finish for me, but I don't know.
I can see it. I think this is the only one on the card where I had trouble with it. This one in the women's tag. The rest felt pretty easy. But main event, spin the deal, make the deal. Devil's Playground match for the NXT Championship. Ego trying to win back his champion from Trick Williams, who won it back from him. This is obviously the payoff match. I'm super excited for it. I think these guys have great chemistry. I think this is a great opportunity for Trick to see how he does in these types of matches because we haven't really seen him in this arena. And obviously, I know Ethan can eat there. So, but yeah, Trick is winning because he is the face of the NXT. He is the face of the show. He has been the face of the transition to CW. And Ethan Page will be fine. I mean, he's probably on the main roster come the new year anyways. But this will be a good payoff to the feud, and I'm very excited to watch it.
I love Ethan Page. I think he's done a great job. I think I don't know if you've watched what they dropped with the Child's Play thing. That was fucking awesome. The thing about like, this was your plan B. This has been my plan A. Like, I was like, that's great shit. The fact that you tanked the fucking National Football League and you couldn't make it. And now you're here as a backup to a backup essentially. And you struck gold.
Worked out for Roman Reigns.
Right, of course. Right. Isn't that fucking weird how like the people who have like wanted this their entire lives never get to the fucking mountaintop? And then
I mean, they
like
do. Daniel Bryan, like there's those, but it's what I love about wrestling is it doesn't matter. It's like anybody can, and that's the beauty of it. It's like the big one, like is like when Rey Mysterio finally wins the title. It's like, oh, they're finally letting the little guy. That's what it's just. You look at every single person who's ever won the title, and they all have different journeys. And I think that's my favorite part of like sports and these types of things in general. Is it's just like you get people that there's no like this is the prototype of how you do something. It's like no, you literally just find your own way, and I think it's awesome.
Well, I think
you're picking Trick.
Oh yeah, I'm picking Trick. There's no
that Trick. That Trick. I like it.
I wonder what's next for him though, because it doesn't seem like a lot.
Trick. I mean, if he's the champion, he'll be defending. I would assume a Wesley feud is coming down the line. So
I don't know. I just feel like again, it's crude. I know Shawn Michaels, I have faith in, but I just I feel like
no worries. But
I just feel like there's not a lot of main characters, in my opinion, on NXT that are worthy. Well, yeah, that's one, but we're not feeding them right now. That'd be terrible.
Hey, if they always need a stopgap, we've seen they're not afraid to have someone come down and do a program. Like they've done it through the history of NXT. I thought one of the most important runs for Braun was the run with Dolph, because I think that's where he really benefited and learned, was that one. And I think for Grayson Waller, the confidence he got going against AJ Styles, I thought leveled him up. So it's not always a bad thing. If you don't see it, you plug someone in and it can work. So honestly, you never know what can happen.
We didn't talk about that, but
oh my god, I'm eating it up. Him with the ladies are doing the thing. He's doing the thing with Carmen right now, and he's like making her jealous. Honestly, HBK don't miss, baby.
I just thought that was the funniest thing ever. Of like, why are you leaving, Soul Snatcher?
Instant Soul Snatcher.
Yeah, I was like, well, the thing, like the logical person to me is like, you can't see the person running up the turnbuckle to a flip, but it's just
the beauty of it, and it was the perfect camera angle, and
just like
Soul's been doing that finish out of nowhere. They've kind of made it RKO-ish, which is fucking awesome because it's such a dope finisher. So.
It's just funny. It just makes me laugh. Like, what the fuck are we watching? But anyway, yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. You all set?
Yeah, let's get out of here.
All right. Thank you for listening and watching the Jobber Knocker podcast. We'll be back next week, hopefully on Tuesday, right? I don't know. We'll see.
Back to Tuesdays, baby.
Back to Tuesday. We'll see you next week for some more Jobber Knockery.